I know you.
That's personal.
I know you've traveled extensively and have met all kinds of very powerful women in leadership positions around the world. Who
Yeah.
are and were some of the women that inspired and really motivated you?
Some good women, I mean, these are political women, women that inspired me. Really, Margaret Thatcher
Margaret
really
Thatcher.
was the first. Yeah. For some reason, I was very excited about her as a woman, what she took on, what she undertook, and to fight her way through and to be able to run a big nation like Britain. I was very impressed with her just getting there. And I said, yes, there's an opportunity for us to get there. She was one in my youthful days that I admired, one woman who I really thought took the bull by the horn to get those men to make sure that she would be the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
Understand?
Um, that was one woman that truly inspired me. There were the other women, just my mom and what she did, raising 7 children when her husband died, and she was a housewife with few skills. Um, Although she was a brilliant woman, I mean, and to do what she did was just amazing. And that the first opportunity she got to go to the United States through her niece, who she had raised partially. She got that opportunity and she worked. I mean, I was amazed at what she did
Let me ask you,
to,
talking about
to
her,
us.
not cutting you, talking about her, what is your favorite memory of her?
She said, darling, you are so beautiful one day. She was very ill, and I had flown in from East Timor to see her. And she looked at me and she said, darling, you are so beautiful. You're such a wonderful. And I said, Mommy, really? Because, when we were coming up, people didn't tell you that you're pretty or beautiful. You know, People just told you negative stuff.
True.
They would tell you most of the time. At school, you were always beaten for something, and there was very little praise. And when my mom said that really struck a chord, and softened so much that could have hurt. You know, um, I just remember the look on her face when she said that to me.
Wow. Um,
Um,
you,
she was a wonderful woman, just great. She was just so tall. I mean, as a child, she appeared so tall and elegant. People used to call her the queen of the neighborhood because she was just so tall and elegant. She always spoke so well. She was just my pride and joy, really. And I just tried to emulate a little bit of who she was.
I see where you get your eloquence. CB in the chat room said, sounds as though schools themselves, from a government's angle, need to be properly outfitted. In terms of guidance counselors, changes in the teaching practice, curriculum, just top mention a few. I'm not sure I understand it. CB, the last sentence, changes in the teaching practice curriculum, just stop mention a few. Could you clarify that for me, please? And then CB said again,
Sorry, could
well,
you repeat?
I'm trying to, they said, oh, okay, got you. Let me reread it. Sounds as though schools themselves, from a government's angle, need to be properly outfitted. In terms of guidance counselors, changes in the teaching practice curriculum, just to mention a few. And CB also said, sorrel jelly may also be another project. I've had it. I've had it. It's delicious. And Esther
Yeah.
said, I taught at a senior secondary school, and it was heartrending to hear the problems that kids face both at home and with their peers. We need guidance and counseling in schools urgently.
Yes.
And Faith,
Yes, we do.
Dr. Harding, you started a Sorrow project a few years ago to encourage women in rural communities to take advantage of their land and earn a living for themselves. What can you tell us you learned from that experience?
Okay. All right. I think a lot. Let me answer the one first with the schools.
Yes.
I think I see some good movement now from the Ministry of Education. Maybe it's the new leadership there, where they're really making some efforts to change some of what is happening. They're having some more inputs into school, a lot of input into working with the parents. I see the minister doing quite a bit of engagement with parents. I see she has now set up a really very interesting website, education called Education Now. I must say that I admire that. But there's a whole lot more to be done in terms of the guidance counseling. In terms of teacher training, what are you being trained to do? Teachers don't know much about child development, like the developmental stages. And why is it you teach certain things at certain times to children? And how can you turn the lesson into one that develops the personality, good behaviors, and so on? That shouldn't only be a special course or a special person coming in like the guidance counselor, but we do need that. And we do need training in psychology. You know, the guidance counselors shouldn't just be people who have done social work. Social work is important, yes, but they don't get into the crux of therapy. And so we need therapeutic kinds of activities within the schools, within the classrooms. All right, that having said that, yes, I started the Sorrow project about a year. And what I learned from that is that people want instant money. People want to see instant gratification. Nobody wants to wait until it grows and so on. So that I am very happy that the seeds that we got from Mexico, from a firm in Mexico, were the product, that the sorrel grows within 3 weeks. You begin to see it blossoming, and so that they could see the product coming quickly, and that they can get money within 2 months, when it would have taken 6 months before you can get any money for the sorrel. What I've also learned from this is that, for instance, there's no research on sorrel in this country. Although we've been growing sorrel for years, nobody has collected any information. There is no data. There is no understanding of the sorrel. And so for me, if you have institutions like, for instance, NARI, and you have IAST, I mean, you have a product like sorrel that you know could make so much money because it's a nutraceutical. It is known for its help in cancer, its help in high blood pressure, in hypertension, in diabetes and all those things. It's that kind of product. And that the US has $82 billion available for nutraceuticals. You know, you will want to get at some of that money as a nation. This is why Jamaica invests so much in sorrel growers and planters and sorrel itself, because the Prime Minister has seen the importance of sorrel to economic development or individuals gaining economic security. So I realized how we are not, I mean, not only the government, but individuals and people within the field of agriculture, people in the field of trade, are very unaware of what is important and how you can get people to be economically viable, how you can get communities working, how you can help people to monetize their resources easily. What I also learned from this is, this is a little negative, because I have a food for work program within the project.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see the greed, it bothers me. You'll see people hoarding for themselves and people using all kinds of tricks so as to get more than the other person, you know, or not share. So you have that human element in it that I didn't think I would find to the extent that I found it, you know, so that I had to change my strategy in the way that the food for work is distributed, because, you know, it's not a whole lot for a group. Let's say I choose 10, let's say one group is 10 persons and you provide a box of chicken, which is 40 pounds. You would expect everybody to get 4 pounds of that chicken. I buy, I give them a bag of flour, that's 100 pounds. So if it's 10 of you, I expect everybody to get 10 pounds of flour. And I expect everybody to get 10 pounds of sugar, 10 pounds of rice, and so on, and 10 cans of whatever I provide. So, you know, that the human element, even in sharing and caring, will still exist where greed. And that was a lesson that I had to learn.
So what have you learned about yourself during this, from that experience?
That I've got a lot of patience. That I could turn $10 into $10,000.
Work with it, how do they undermine their influence on the community, on you know, on other folks? How do you think, from your experience working with them, especially in this project, do they do that?
A lot of them were very shy.
Mm.
A lot of the women, well, not a lot, but a few of the women were not articulate and needed help in being able to face the public, being able to work with other strangers, people in their community who they may not have known before or worked with before. The whole socialization process, I think, would undermine their own growth.
Mm-hmm.
So that was part of the process of working with them. Let's say you take some clothing in, you know, you would see greed coming in there, although it's something to share. And people would feel that if you are new in the community, the other women would feel that this particular woman hasn't worked hard enough or hasn't done enough in the community. She's not deserving of something. And so that undermines, you know, other women. as well in getting the project, serving its true purpose. So it's those ways of, what you call association. They, if you don't belong to, if you're not in the in group, how you can get rejected. So what we have been able to do is to get all the women to learn how to care and share for each other, and working together on this project has helped them, because they got to get out there 5 o'clock in the morning and dig the ground and plant the seeds or the seedlings and so on, and they're laughing and joking. And when I'm there, I'm sharing with them, and we share jokes and funny things, and that helped to lift any of that out of the group, so now they are a team, and they work, they share together. One gets sick, they're all at her place looking to help her. Another person had a fire at her house. Everybody that's in West Watuka farm there, everybody was running there to take care, because she didn't come, and they wanted to know what happened. Is that she had a fire and she got burnt, so they took her to the hospital and things like that. And so you find caring. Somebody doesn't turn up, they want to know why you did turn up, and they go and look for each other.
In the chat room, Aram asked, what is the primary reason for all the issues today, and why are youth so easily lured into degenerate behavior compared to youth who grew up during the 70s and early 80s?
Oh gosh. Say that again.
Sorry. What is the primary reason for all the issues today? And why are youth so easily lured into degenerate behavior compared to youth who grew up during the 70s and early 80s?
Because there is the last question, why youth are so, because there is so much of it happening that they're seeing, and to become like a lot of peer pressure to be looking like this or looking like that. And parents today are more involved in negative activities than in our day, or children who were brought up in the 70s. The children today are seeing much more. There's television, which is showing, which sometimes is not monitored, and they're learning all kinds of things. They want to be hip. They want to be cool. They want to be like this person and that person. And there's nobody there talking to them about how negative that is and what road it's going to take them down. As I said, in some communities, you have the parents sending the child to buy the drug. That didn't happen in our days. I don't know. Maybe our parents did send us to buy alcohol. Perhaps I never had that, but that might have happened in the 70s. But now it's drugs. And so the kids now, if you're sending your kid to buy the drug, take a little sniff himself. Because you see how the father cools out and whatever when he's smoking. And these things are being shown. These things are modeled for our children. All the negative behaviors are being modeled for our children. And so they fall into it because they want to belong. A lot of their friends in communities are behaving in these negative ways, and the children just follow, and they don't get punished for it.
Dr. Harding, what is most rewarding about the work you do?
In the work I do, just seeing success. And I see a child come off of drugs or come off of prostitution, when I see a child who takes his schooling important, have worked with him in 7 or 8 sessions, or her, it gives me a great feeling of satisfaction. When I see a woman interested in buying a house, a piece of land, and she is 45 years of age and never thought of owning or thought that she could own a piece of land, I feel great about that. And I feel, today I was telling the Tushao from Maracaibo that if we can do the school, we can have the agricultural produce done. We can plant up all of Maracabai. I can see children having transportation to go to the nursery and primary school and having a secondary school in there. If we can have those things and teachers get upgraded, they are asking to even be able to write CXT. They want to be able to do the end of high school exams. They don't have it. If I can do that, I could shut my eyes and
Doctor,
die.
talking
You know,
about that, can you give that information, the phone number and the email address, so I can post it?
the 202 phone number.
That's the one you want to give out?
Well, my home number here is overseas 592-225
592
2326
225
2326.
2326. Okay.
But I do have a 202 number which I don't have in front of me. I'll have to go get it.
Okay.
But I can give you that. You can post it later, please.
Sure. No problem.